Alright, I've moved the camera back a little bit, and so the angle's changed a little, so that hopefully from that far back I can do all the yoga. Oh, look at that mirror. And I won't have to keep on adjusting the camera. That way this can all be done in one take. Though I will be doing some editing though, for the talking part, so that, well, anyways. Okay, maybe I should comment on the tank top or wife beater. Is just sort of an undershirt, or I'm not even sure what exactly it is. Yeah, it's not something I would have worn in high school, and I would have thought that, it's don't wear that. But then, after trying it, I believe in it, and I think you should have these types of shirts, and wear them when you're in your pajamas and when you're working out. Yeah. Yeah, there's all different types of tank tops, but these are the cheapest ones you can buy. You get them in packs, and yeah, but then also it's kind of a tight fit. When you put on weight, it kind of gets more difficult to wear the same ones. Yeah, it's yoga day, and I just showered because I'm going to be using my yoga mat. I believe in being clean before using it. Hindu myths, I'm just bringing those up. That barely has anything to do with it, but then at the same time. And then I've got these two yoga books. Let's see what other, yeah, you can sort them a little bit and flip through them, but it's also kind of something awkward you're looking at. But this yoga book, yeah, it's got something about the cell's membrane, right? Oh yeah, breathing. It's got stuff about the stomach and the rib cage, diaphragm. Alright, well, I've read this yoga book before, and something it said to do was breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, and to inhale as hard as you can and exhale as hard as you can. Or, like breathe in through the nose, and then out through the mouth. And keep on exhaling until you've completely exhaled. And maybe you don't need to learn that right away, but and then only that book has said that about yoga to me so far. So it's like, says who? And then some people don't even think you should be breathing that hard. Like, you don't know if it's gonna do something bad to you. So, we're going to try and do some of that, deep breathing this time. The Bhagavad Gita. Right? It's like, why is this guy bringing this stuff up? Well, we said yoga. And almost wasting your time with some of this extra stuff. Karma yoga. See, yoga is one of their spiritual practices, and that's also one of the reasons why it's controversial. Here's another yoga book, but it looks like they're in a pink gymnastic suit like they're gonna do ballet. Can think of that what you will. Yeah, and let's start learning Hindi too, right? Yeah, and Hinduism and Islam actually have a sort of a, a confrontational history. So, I know Middle Eastern people or West Asian people that have done yoga, and they liked it, but then later it's also like, don't push any of their religious ideas on me. Alright, and the next lesson after this one has to do with HIIT, high intensity interval training. But other books like this one, stretching, that's what you would call yoga. But then most people don't do an hour of yoga for exercise. And then I also have this book, Exercise for Women. And because I sort of want to understand, what exercises men should do, and then, like, what exercises should women do. But then it's more like, don't even go there. If you want to be all knowledgeable about exercise, it's not really your place to tell a woman how to work out. Alright, so I have a towel on the floor. That's sort of your second yoga mat. The first yoga mat is the floor, or I guess the first yoga mat is the ground outside. The second yoga mat is the floor inside. And then you have a towel, and then you have a yoga mat. Yeah, these are pretty common. That you can get them at a lot of stores. And I guess when I say they're pretty common, you don't actually see everyone with yoga mats, but they are sold commonly at stores. You just sort of see them sometimes. But also, like, I'm walking around with my yoga mat. Yeah, I got this one's black, and it's like good choice. My first one was green, and I didn't take precautions with it. What I mean is now when I use this, I shower beforehand and I wear socks. See, that makes sense because we're trying to keep it as clean as possible. But then your other yoga mat that's dirty, so now you can use that yoga mat outside. I'm trying to learn skateboarding again. I didn't get that far on it last time. I'm trying to learn again. And I guess one parallel is you might do it at the park, and you're kind of sneaking around if you think you can do this at the park. Or maybe you're embarrassed if someone sees you. And I still have more to say about yoga, and that's what happened with a third of the video, half. I don't know, because I don't want this video going on for longer than an hour, even though I feel like a 90-minute yoga workout is better, but even doing stretching for an hour does not make sense to people who have been stretching before exercise their whole life, and now they just someone wants to do stretching as exercise, and then they're not even gonna lift after they get done stretching. So how I started learning yoga was that it was senior year, and I had taken weight training for 4 years. I had gotten the Bowflex dumbbells, and then I had also eventually gotten a 24-hour fitness membership, and then I wasn't doing that good in functional analysis trigonometry and had failed the class. and had to get some, since it was in the middle of the day, I couldn't do early release. So there weren't a lot of classes open, and when they offered yoga, I sort of took it. And yeah, so then I took yoga, and I thought it was pretty cool. You know, just another thing to do for exercise. And it actually, you know, helps define some of your muscles, and then also helps with posture. And a yoga joke about, you know, like, why do men take yoga? And you think, oh, because I can, you know, there's probably sort of athletic women there, and I can sort of check them out. And I realized when I was in weight training, you know, I was thinking about why are there a few girls in weight training every semester? Probably for that same reason, that they're thinking, oh, I can take the weight training class, I can see what the big guys are, who they are, the big guys in the school, you know? But then actually a lot of people in weight training are just, you know, anyone who wanted to take the class, and maybe they weren't even in shape yet. And that's also something when I kept on recommending weight training to people, you know, they're like, oh, should I be in weight training? Like, aren't I just a scrawny guy? Aren't I going to get picked on by big guys if I take weight training? And I'm like, oh, no, it's just about learning fitness. Yeah, and then I wanted to talk about how yoga is a sport in your mind. And yeah, you know, India has like 1 billion people, and yoga's from India, so maybe 1 billion people do yoga. Or it's also an ancient fitness routine, so you know, there's no telling how many people have done yoga over the last couple thousand years. And you know, you are competing, you know, with how much yoga you can do, and how, you know, how much time you spend doing yoga, and how long you can hold every pose, how many times you do the pose, and what poses you can do. And if you're willing to accept yoga as a sport, then, you know, it's kind of like, oh, you wanted to play soccer as a kid, and you would have been a soccer player, or you wanted to play basketball, but, you know, then you decided you didn't like it. Maybe you did wrestling in middle school, or you played street hockey, you got your roller skates on in elementary school, and you skated around in the street a little bit with the other neighborhood kids and played street hockey, and you know, you might think that you played a sport. And yeah, you can think that with yoga, sure. I mean, you know, people are going to disagree. And yoga is kind of new age. A lot of different groups might do yoga. You don't know what it's associated with. You know, yoga might be associated with vegetarianism, organic food. You know, there's that entire organic people movement. And then there's also yoga might be, you know, maybe it's like smoking pot with the, you know, the pot smokers. So maybe it's kind of a stoner thing. I'm not sure. And then, yeah, maybe, you know, yoga isn't like skateboarding, but hey, maybe you're like a surfer if you do yoga. Maybe you can think that about yourself. You got kind of a surfer vibe going. You know, if you do yoga outside, which is kind of difficult to do, maybe you can tan while doing yoga, and then, you know, you kind of have a surfer vibe. Sure. And I probably had more stuff to say about yoga, but let's just get started. Oh, wait. Here's another thing, is when you're stretching out, if you pull something, you know, if you get a Charlie horse, or maybe maybe you felt growing pains sometimes, or maybe you had it before when you were sleeping and you woke up and your leg was all cramped up or something. Something like that might happen in yoga, and I was told to think that's just a good thing. Like that's the goal, is to get a Charlie horse and to just don't move when you get one and just wait for it to subside and it'll be gone in like a minute. Doing an hour of yoga and telling people that they're not doing it right, if they're not doing the heavy breathing, that stuff makes the yoga better, but a lot of people probably are barely trying it out just because you're pestering them with it and peer pressuring them just because for some reason you decided to get involved with it and want to be pushing it on people. And if you're trying to prove that it's a tough workout, then you might be scaring them away early, because you might want to make this super difficult so that it's like, oh, you can't do this workout. And it's just like, well, I'm just sort of trying it out. The thing is about trying to do the splits. Alright, well, that's already enough chit-chat, even though I probably didn't cover everything I wanted to. If I think of anything else, I can bring it back up in a week when I might try doing some yoga again. Actually, now I am remembering something. When I got into yoga, and you thought you were good at it, then, I was probably doing it almost every day, just as something you enjoy and you always have time for, but that only lasts for a year at most, or, there's no telling how different people are, but then, in 2016, when I got up to 200 pounds the first time, and now I'm 240, and, yoga is kind of a skinny man's game more, whereas, while I have a stomach, I probably want to do more cardio and stuff until I get in enough shape to do yoga and feel good about it. But then yoga is really great for your posture, and, on ab day, it's almost like, hey, you only need to do yoga for ab day. Or, that's a personal opinion, but most people, and also knowing that people just, it's like a flip of a coin. We don't know if they're going to have a problem with yoga, but it's also constantly becoming more mainstream that these yoga positions are almost becoming just mainstream exercises that show up on the internet. Okay, so let's just try and do 40 minutes of yoga since, I don't want to do anything too crazy. I had that introductory conversation. Bouncing. And how long should I hold each pose? And this early on, it doesn't matter at all how long you hold each pose. But then you might think 6 breaths or a minute or 30 seconds, or maybe you can consider each breath a rep in the pose. So let's try some of that heavy breathing. Share. Yeah, I was just remembering the first time I did yoga almost. Breathe. And they also said to go into mountain after many of the exercises and rest in mountain before, moving on to the next exercise and catch your breath a little bit.
So I was just thinking about that heavy breathing.
Your posture is trying to stand as upright as possible.
And if how that's the only thing people hear you doing is the heavy breathing. It's like, oh, you were doing yoga in there.
And
I guess that's one of the reasons why people complain about it.
But I saw someone else teaching yoga, and they start with relaxation poses. And then, let's have the entire first lesson be relaxation poses. And then we'll switch between a relaxation pose and just sitting. Let's just make this a meditation time, and like rolling around on the floor and move up from there. Where let's start at it just being relaxing, and just keep on making it our relaxation time. That's another way of doing it, I guess. There's also hot yoga, and I think that's doing yoga in like a sauna or something.
Yeah, this was pretty good.
And yeah, let's make it, spiritual and religious, and try and do these praying things. And yeah, that'll help get the endorphins going and making the exercise feel good. And then also, like, hands up and like your head back, like it's an act of worship and celebration. That'll help get the endorphins flowing.
Now, I just like how this was mostly just one long take. I didn't have to edit out a lot out of.
I like to just go standing, sitting, laying, sort of.
But then it wasn't really an amazing yoga session. But
or another thing you can do is you can do it like circuit training. If you do it like circuit training, once you do all the moves that you wanted to do, then you can just repeat the pattern and do them all again, and just keep on running the circuit, doing the pattern until you feel like you've gotten the most out of it.
and it's also difficult to listen carefully to my instructions when I might be talking at any time, and then also
I think stork is one we used to do for stretching and soccer.
listening to music.
Where you just hold your leg.
The music going on.
And I remember in soccer, you used to hop around on one foot when doing this. You got your sock, like, oh, stork. This is what it's like in soccer. Oh, losing my balance, and I'm just hopping around. Now, I quit out of soccer. I was I only did in elementary school, and I was like a right defender or something. That's kind of funny how you're just standing around on the field waiting them to come into your zone.
Yeah. I can see doing some more yoga sessions after I've gotten in whatever shape I can get in, in the next 6 months, year or two. Just trying to go up in weight and also get real muscular and stuff. But I mean, it's also like saying that. It just sounds ridiculous when you say something like that. I'm just making little micro decisions and sort of nudging myself that way and recording the process.
Yeah, like I can use my bike seat, my stationary bike, and I can put my leg up on the seat, or I can use this bar or these rail things, and I can, set the height of the thing to rest my leg on to help me stretch it out while I'm still in the beginner stage. For something to grab onto. But and there's one where you hold on to this. One where you grab your leg and foot. Ta-da! Dance King. That's something that a guy. This is one you probably think guys shouldn't do. It's kind of like Stork, but yeah, get your hand back there, and I don't really see what the big deal about that is. But I mean, yeah, if you have a superior level of it, then it looks kind of impressive. But it's also not a big deal if you're trying it, and just more stuff.
Yeah, I always recommended yoga to people. It's also kind of...
Yeah, it's all about trying to get your foot up to your head level. Now these are a couple that I don't think they're in the list. So I'm just sort of making them up, but they seem pretty standard to do. Like just trying to hold your knee like that, like why not? It's like, oh well, if it's not a move, I guess there's no reason to be doing that. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I think it's fine.
Oh yeah, and these two yoga moves I saw in the Krav Maga fitness book, which will be coming up.
Here's another one. Grabbing your leg like this. And I don't think that's actually a pose, but I kind of like doing this a little bit. But you can see how all these things make you feel. Like, oh, do I want to do that more times? Is it worth being part of my routine? Or here's another thing. As you're learning yoga, maybe you're adding every move that you learn to your routine. And that's how this is eventually becoming like 2 hours or more to do this when you think you need to do every single move there is.
Yeah.
And you're just learning more moves, and there's like hundreds of moves that are all just standing different.
And when you grab your leg, if you have a mirror where you can look at yourself,
treat it like weightlifting and do different.
and you're
sets,
looking at yourself doing some of these.
It's just becoming ridiculous to try and do every single move every time.
Now you look better to yourself than you do in reality, Then recording this, it's my way of sharing it and also examining myself. At the same time, it's also pretty gross, so I'm really walking the line on this one.
I almost just feel like something like, remember, deep breathing. Inhale fully, exhale fully. And it's just like, well, it's almost like treating something that isn't that difficult as if it is difficult. and then also bent over stuff kind of looks weird. But, you know, it's good for your back. You can go from the bend over thing to having your hands on the ground. And you can try and pull yourself farther to stretch out more. Stork, or no, not stork, eagle. Yeah. Put a leg over, and it's like, what does that do? Well, I was having difficulty with it the last 2 times I tried. And you can feel it stretching out.
Yeah, this video is pretty long. I used to always do yoga for a really long time, and I had to relearn how to do shorter yoga sessions. Like the first 20 minutes was just me talking for a long time. Also had the circuit training video going. The video is already long enough. It's me repeating my basic exercises.
Alright, let's do those warrior poses. And in yoga class, sort of learn doing the warrior poses on a lunge or on your knee. Take a knee, and then the different warrior, like 3 warrior variations are, hands at the sides, hands forward, and hands going straight up, and then also maybe have your head back and your hands are straight up, looking at the ceiling. And then what's nice about doing the lunge warrior poses is you can go into runner's pose in yoga, where you put your hands by your foot and come up like that. And then you're in here for a little bit. And then you can go up from here into the actual warrior poses. And there's the variations of the hands. And then turning sideways and doing this thing. And I think this is actually, like, all 3 of those are warrior 1, and then this is warrior 2. And then warrior 3, I might be wrong about this, is then like that. And you'll get better at warrior 3. But yeah. And if I grab this bar over here, sort of difficult to watch someone do yoga. Yeah, if these don't seem that hard, it's because you're not doing them for very long.
Yeah, my workouts won't really be yoga focused, but I am hoping,
I mean, yeah, they're not that hard,
to get back there someday.
then downward dog into the cobra. I think that's what it's called. Now, I still might be wrong about a lot of these. And the yoga teacher always had us do swan. Try and do like a 90-degree bend with your arms out. And then after swan a little bit, then let it bang down into a forward bend. Start doing some breaths. And every breath try and move your hands down another inch. Alright, and then once we're down here, let's walk out into downward dog. And by acting like an instructor, you feel cool. And I also recommend just taking your laptop and recording yourself like I am. Try and watch yourself do these, or do any exercise. Yeah, start keeping video logs. Alright, let's roll back into hero pose. Now, a couple of days ago, and actually even right now, I can feel my legs all tight and I don't really want to sit on them. And then they might even have you do hero squats. Yeah, to sort of do that. And the ab wheel I'm using should be helping me stretch out my calves so I can sit on them. But right now they're still really tight. And there's another one where you're trying to like that. Oh yeah, you're kind of doing that already, sure. Ah!
I can really feel how long this video is.
I can still feel something going on here, and you wouldn't even think that this is something you're supposed to work on. And then child's pose, that's another one you might have a problem with. You can have child's pose out like this, and you're kind of looking weird doing that. Or the other child's pose. If you're, now this is going too far.
Yeah, anyways, you guys go ahead and do that.
How difficult that is. I'm struggling with it.
You know.
And I think you could also probably do
tell.
rotations from here, but. But however bad child's pose is, like, I don't feel like it's right to do cats and dogs on the camera. And, but, cats and dogs, you can do, if you do those all the time, and they're good for you. But, and you can also just hold those. And this is cat. And then dog is going in the other direction, and then you keep on doing those, and normally do about 10, something you're supposed to do, but okay, here we can do plank, and plank's good. Probably not going to stay in plank for too long. It's pretty hard actually. And then plank and pedestal, sometimes people use those words for each other. These are very common popular core training exercises. And both of them, there's also side plank and side. You already know this stuff. Then you can put your leg up. That stuff. This is why it also helps to have a list. Okay, Cobra plank. We're almost done with the list I have so far. And then, you know, circuit training, once you're done, do the entire list again. Yeah. And just keep doing the thing. Or wait, staff. Yeah, just sort of trying to sit upright. Yeah. And you can also try and touch your toes.
Look up yoga videos. Yoga
Doing
pictures.
stuff like this in soccer.
Find all moves on the
down.
internet probably,
Like
and see if there's a book.
that probably
Book will
looks
just be a
familiar.
picture
Yeah,
book of
I've
different
done
yoga
stretches before.
poses. There might be something in there to read. It'll tell you something with words. Read. It'll say something. You don't need to do what it says. And you can see who are the people on the internet that do yoga. And then you don't need to listen to them, but you can see what it looks like, see how much you're getting from it, try it out, and write down a list. And when you write down a move,
On this frog.
draw a little
And,
stick figure of the pose.
Here's another
Check
common
what it
one.
looks like.
And then sometimes they have you lower your body down and then do that, but that's kind of another one of those things where you probably shouldn't be doing that on camera.
If you
Or
do
not
get good at
doing that right
yoga,
now.
eventually
Or you can pick up your legs.
take a video,
I mean, that's just
and
sort
then
of
you can
working out.
image
stretching a little
select
bit.
all the different poses from the video, or just take a bunch of pictures of yourself doing the poses. You know, minimize them, print them out, put them on a
I
poster.
am starting
You
to
can look at
sweat,
that
and I don't wanna
poster,
get my sweat on
do
the
that
yoga.
routine.
I'm gonna try and keep it
That's just a
clean
little
as long
arts
as
and
I
craft
can.
thing that maybe you can do that. It's not a hard suggestion, like just throwing it out there.
Yeah, bridge probably isn't impressive, but it's something you always felt good about, even the first time you did it in elementary school.
Yeah, you can do that with other types of exercises too if you just want to make exercise posters of yourself. I don't know, it seems kind of silly, but it comes kind of
Yeah,
naturally
that's gotta be good for
with
you.
yoga because of the Hinduism, you know, and the mandalas. The pictures are supposed to be you a little bit, but most people probably
It's also something that a man doesn't really look good
aren't
for.
going to be amazed by a poster
Crab is
of a
actually
bunch of
more
pictures of
difficult
you.
than
I
think.
don't know, maybe that is weird.
That's like impossible right now for me to lift my hips
It's
up.
something I might do sometime. I'll
And my
think about
arms
it.
aren't willing to stretch that far, so I can't really
But I
put
can get
myself up into crab. I can
proud
practice
of my
a little bit on
body.
the bench. And then bow is also one you don't want to see you doing. It's when you sort of try and grab your legs. So it's difficult to do. But you can also alternate and sort of grab one leg at a time. See, that doesn't seem so bad. alternating bow. And grab one leg at a time, but you can feel how difficult it is, though. And then I just have Superman just down. And that's all I have written down right now. And then yeah, you can do that 2 times, then do that 3 times, or you can look through the book and you can spend hours looking through the thing, trying out the pose.
Oh yeah, you can get a notebook
trying out the pose,
and make a spiral, a little binder notebook of the same thing of pictures of you doing yoga that you can flip through. Sure.
But then after, if you stop doing it, it might be a while before you get excited about it again, since you already tried it out.